guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Caitlin and today we are going through my empties from the months of December and January. So some of this stuff is beauty, some of it is makeup specific, got some hair care, skin care, you name it. I'm going to let you know what I've completely used up, what was good, and what I am so glad is gone from my collection and I will never repurchase again or recommend to you all. So if that sounds good, keep on watching. Before we get too far into the video, if you haven't already, I would love it if you would consider subscribing. I upload 2 videos a week. It's totally free to subscribe and I would love to see you back again on the channel in the future. Alright, so let's see what goodies we've gotten here. Let's go skincare first. So first up I've got this. It comes in more of a package than this, but this is just, I threw away the outer package, I guess. These are the CosRx pimple patches. These are great if you get pimples that are raised up and they get really like filled, you know, like gross, pussy, infectious. Like, I know that's details maybe you don't want to hear, but you know, you need to know what kind of acne I'm talking about. These don't work on the ones that are like under the skin, right? This is raised up. Those patches are a life changer for raised acne. Like, it will totally smoothen, flatten, like suck out all the gunk, and it doesn't take away redness per se, but it'll take away the texture, like the raised texture of the acne, so that at least if it's red you can color correct or do something to cover it. But you know, there's nothing you can do to cover like texture or like a big bump on your skin. So those I love. I've already gotten more of them. And yeah, I feel those are going to be an ongoing, like, forever purchase in my life at this point. I wore 2 of them just last night. So those are amazing. Cannot recommend enough if you're somebody with raised acne like that. I also went through from Purlisse one of these tiny little face masks. This is the Blue Lotus Seed Mud Mask and Exfoliant. This one is for gently resurfacing, detoxifying, brightening, tighten, and smoothing. It's a nice mask. Like, I've liked all the masks I have from Purlisse. I'm not going to repurchase this one at this point just because I have a really big Purlisse face mask that is some kind of pumpkin something mask. I don't know, but it was from a fall FabFitFun box. So I'm using that big size one up. So like I said, that's the reason I'm not repurchasing this right now, but it is good, I think, and I've enjoyed the Purlisse masks. So if you are in the market for some sort of mask that is one that you put on and you do have to like then wash it off with either water, washcloth, whatever, I have really enjoyed the results and feel like my face is very cleansed and soft. I don't know about the detoxifying and brightening so much, but I can definitely say it definitely feels smoother and tighter and more like exfoliated resurfaced from this mask. Next up, cleanser. This is from Fenty Skin. I got this in like an Ipsy bundle thing. I'll actually leave the video linked here where I tried a bunch of Fenty Beauty for the first time. And this is the Total Cleanser, the Remove It All Cleanser. This really does remove it all. It takes it off, okay? So in that sense, it's really good. It says use day and night to remove makeup, dirt, and impurities. This takes off even my hardest to remove mascara. Like, I had one mascara that, I mean, I still have it. I haven't used it up, but it's like borderline. It's not waterproof, but to me, it's that hard to remove. This stuff will take it off. That being said, I feel like this really strips my skin, so anytime I used it, I really had to be conscientious about moisturizing well afterwards so that I didn't get into like a stripped skin situation. So I don't know, it just depends what you want on this one. I have quite a few other cleansers right now that I've purchased from like TJ Maxx. I'll leave my affordable skincare video like haul from TJ Maxx linked if you're curious what kind of brands and things TJ Maxx has to offer. But this was not bad. It just wasn't my favorite, like I said, just because of it felt very like, oh my gosh, like all moisture is gone from my skin, which that's saying a lot for someone with combination skin. Like, even the oily parts, I was like, I'm dry, I need something after this. So not my favorite, but definitely got the makeup off. Okay, last skincare thing here, kind of skincare, I don't know. This is from Laneige. It is their Lip Sleep Mask. I got a little trio of these from TJ Maxx. This is the one in the berry scent. Totally cleaned her out big time. And because it was a trio, I am using the second one right now, little of this size, and they last forever even though they're the minis. So I can only imagine how long the big one would take. And the third one I gave in a giveaway because I think it was some sort of like chocolate mint scent that I was like, oh, not my favorite, and I did not want to be smelling that on my lips. These are really nice. since I started using these, I have to have something on my lips now to go to bed. Like, I can't have it any other way. I feel dry otherwise. But I do have a lot of lip treatments and things right now, so I'm not going to be repurchasing this right now, especially since, like I said, these came in a trio and I'm working on the other one. But if you're in the market for some kind of like night lip treatment, these are nice. Double check and do your homework though. I have heard that Laneige maybe isn't cruelty free. I haven't been able to find anything in black and white when I've looked it up, so if that is something that is a consideration for you and you're shopping, just, you know, maybe look into that first, but it does work really well. Okay, hair care. So we've got first the Chi Dry Shampoo, and I think I talked about this in a previous video, but I'm going to try to start getting away from these aerosols. Number one, this was only $3.99 at TJ Maxx, but I think I could use it 3 or 4 times. That was it, and it was empty. So to me, not worth it. It barely had any product in it. But you know, there's a lot of things coming out about aerosols in both sunscreen and dry shampoo that it may not be the best for us. So I'm not going to be repurchasing simply because of that. I'm going to try to go to more of like a loose powder, like brush it in your scalp type situation. But I am using up all of the dry shampoos I already own in my collection. So this is one I used up. I do like the Chi brand. So like I have some of their hot tools. I've used their shampoos, conditioners, and hair treatments and like them. Dry shampoo was fine, but like I said, barely any came this little mini amount. I used it like 3 or 4 times for 2.6 ounces. It just wasn't worth it for me. And the fact, like I said, it's an aerosol, so I'm going to try to be transitioning out of those and seeing if I can find maybe a healthier alternative for myself. And then the other hair care product I used up was the Olaplex No. 4 Bond Maintenance Shampoo. I know some people say they have terrible experiences with Olaplex. I actually really like it. My hair really likes it. I'm not repurchasing this right now just because I was sent through an influencer, and I think it's L'Oreal, some kind of shampoo that I'm testing out that I was sent. So I'm using that right now because I just don't want to have a whole bunch of them. But eventually I may repurchase this one. I do have still the No. 4C, which from Olaplex is the like clarifying one. I'll use that maybe once a week to get out any buildup from any like dry shampoo or product or things I've used. So I've got the 4C from Olaplex, and that once a week paired with the other one I'm testing right now is plenty of shampoo for me. But I personally, what I've heard is if you have damaged hair, this brand is good for you, and that's me. I don't really use heat that much or anything to damage my hair, but it just breaks so darn easily. So for me, this has been a win. It is pricey. I think this was like $30 at Ulta, but I used my points for practically everything. So I did get this basically for free using points, you know. And it lasted for months, like I think maybe 3 months or so, I want to say. I didn't time it down to like the day or anything, but it lasted several months. So you only need a small amount. It lathers very well. So I will say that for this brand, and I enjoyed it. And again, kind of like the Laneige one, like it's not that I would never repurchase it necessarily, I just don't need it right now. Okay, my favorite, makeup. We finally made it to the makeup category, right? So the first one is this little tiny thing right here. This is just a little sample out of this. It came from Sephora. This is the Huda Beauty Faux Filter Luminous Matte Liquid Concealer. Thickest, cakiest, most spackle thing I think I've ever put on my face. Hated it. I used it in light coconut flakes. I have 2 others here that are going to be too deep for me. I think I'm going to try to use them as kind of like, I've used this before, like done this before with foundations that are too dark for me, where I use it as like a little bit of a cream like bronzer or like deepening shade. So I might be able to use these for that, and maybe it won't be too thick to do that. I don't know, but even using small amounts, it just didn't look good. It was drying and cakey and spackle looking, and I did not like it whatsoever. So I used it up. I tried it both as concealer under the eye and as foundation all over the face, and I did not like it. I definitely disagree with the fact that it's supposed to be crease proof and moisturizing. That was the opposite of my experience with this. So like I said, I've got 2 more samples. Thankfully it was just a sample from Sephora, and thankfully I didn't like gamble and buy a full size of this, because I don't know how I would have used it up. Probably would have, but it would have been tough. maybe as like an eye primer or something, I don't know, but I've got these two little things to use up, and I'm gonna try to start working on those, because usually winter is when I do a little bit more like cream products when my skin is a little drier on the perimeter. I have combination skin, and you know, definitely in the summers when it's more like oily, so sometimes I'll do cream products in the summer just to like embrace the fact that we're gonna be dewy and sweaty, but in the winter cream products can help to moisturize a bit, I find. So will not be repurchasing that. Do not recommend. I don't know what these influencers are talking about who love it. I don't know if they just have like great under eye filler, smooth, whatever, but I don't think it's for the general public. And again, obviously these are just my own opinions, so if you love it, great. I'm so happy it worked out for you. It just truly did not for me. Okay, next up, I used up the oldest primer in my collection. I'll leave the video. It's kind of funny where I'm talking about like the oldest makeup products in my collection, and I worked really hard to use up the e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer. I mean, she's gone. She's empty, right? This I actually, once I started picking it up again, I liked it a lot more than I remembered it. It is a little slippy, slidey, and it just like, results varied for me depending on the foundation. Sometimes it worked well, like it definitely hydrated more than I remembered, especially considering this is the original and not the luminous. But there were some days where it would like settle into my pores, and I could see like the little, I don't know, almost like little dots where it would settle into my pores later in the day, so I didn't love that. And I think there's just other primers I love more than this one at this point. If I ever repurchase this, I wouldn't repurchase this one. I would be curious to see, they've got a green like color correcting one, like acne fighting, and they've also got a vitamin C one. Those would be the two I'd be interested in trying if I got this again. But for right now, I have quite a few primers in my collection, and I really think I just need to pare down on those and go through some, because even though this was the oldest, that doesn't mean I have others that aren't also old. So I need to use up what I have, and honestly, this used to be, when I first got it, I want to say it was like $5. I'm pretty sure they've upped it. It's like at least $9 now. So e.l.f.'s prices are going up, honey, but this isn't a bad product. I just feel like I've outgrown it at this point and found other things I like better, so I'm glad I used it up. e.l.f.'s iconic. It's coming for all the other brands and dupes, I'm sure. If you follow makeup, you've seen. But yeah, won't be repurchasing her at this point. And then the last empty I have is from Tarte. This is also one of the older foundations in my collection. I used to save this for special occasions just because it was one of the only like high-end in my collection, you know, not drugstore, basically mid-tier. This is like $39, something like that. You can still get the face tape, and I'm not in love with the fact that it's so scented. And I think at first, when I first got this, I thought it was breaking me out, but it must have been something else, because as I went back to it, I actually really liked this one. I didn't like that it would kind of break up a little bit throughout the day, but I find I'm having that issue with a lot of foundations lately. This Wet n Wild one's doing the same thing, and I don't know if it's the age of the foundations or it's just my skin, because someone told me to use the Milk Hydro Grip primer, and that would help, and I think it has. I'll leave the video linked where I tried this for the first time along with some other stuff recently in my collection, and I think maybe that's the solution. So I may just need to do more primers like this, which, speaking of e.l.f., I probably won't. This is just a little baby sample from Ipsy. I probably won't spend the money for the Milk one if e.l.f. is coming out with, you know, the niacinamide one that is $10 instead of $32 or whatever that is at Sephora. But back to this foundation, I think it's okay. It's definitely really powdery. I mean, I even had 6th graders, middle schoolers, if you're a teacher, you know, they will just say whatever, no filter. And I definitely remember having students being like, oh, I can tell when you wear that foundation because your face looks powdery. Like, you don't have to set it, which I liked about it. But apparently, at least according to the students, you could like see that it was powdery looking. So know that about the finish on this one, but it lasted really well. I wore this in several weddings and thought it photographed really beautifully. But again, I have so many foundations in my collection right now, and I thought I was doing so good to you guys. I was so proud, like, yay, I finished one, there's one down, gone from my collection. And then, you know, as soon as that happens, I get sent another one from Lancôme from Influencer, and I'm like, oh, Well, okay, guess we're exactly where we started, but actually I think I like that foundation better. I can't tell 100% yet. That's the one I'm wearing today. But yeah, definitely don't need more foundations in my collection. But that one's not bad if you are in the market for one. I would say, like, consider it. It's not my favorite, but it's definitely not the worst I've ever tried. Just kind of in the middle. If it's on sale or something, maybe I wouldn't pay the full 30-some bucks for it again, that's for sure. So yeah, guys, those are all the items I used up in the months of December and January. Let me know what you're working on using up. I'm getting real close on some other guys. I have this random blush that you can see I'm like scraping the edges. The Wet n Wild bronzer I've been working on forever. We've got a lot of pan there. I've been using this eyeshadow palette for years. About got her used up. So we've got some things that, you know, I am trying to like seriously use stuff up and be good about the spending right now. So keep at it if you've got goals for yourself for a low buy and no buy, just using your collection. And I hope to see you again on the next one. Bye.